He said, listen, I want you to keep them from the evil. We're not praying that God take us out from evil. Mm-mm. He said, keep them in a world of evil. Because do you know that God is not the ruler of this world? Uh-oh. The prince of the power of the air, which is devil, he is the ruler of this world. You and I have been translated into another kingdom. You and I are citizens of another kingdom. This is the kingdom of darkness, which is Satan's rule, domain, Beelzebub, whatever you want to call him, prince of the power of the air, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, right? The dragon. But we are part, not of the kingdom of darkness, but we're part of the kingdom of light. And whenever the kingdom of light intermingle with darkness, guess what? The darkness got to dissipate. Right? Let's keep going. We're going to get to prayer. Amen. Listen, I pray that thou shouldn't take them out, but you should keep them, right? Verse 16, they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. And listen, if you're not of the world and Jesus is not of the world, don't expect the world to like you. Because the Bible said the world loved its own. I'm in verse 16 of John 17. Verse 17, sanctify them through thy truth, thy word is truth. So then he prays for our sanctification, being set apart by the word. And then as thou hast sent me into the world, even so I send them into the world. And for their sakes I sanctify myself, that they might be sanctified through him, through the truth. All right? So let's go. We got an invitation to pray. So Jesus prays for us, prays that we be one, prays that God will keep us in an evil world, prays that we now understand that the power that we now have, we can now live through the power of Christ because he's been able to do what he's asked us to do. So now he says to you, like I prayed, notice, I'm giving you an invitation to pray. Right? Someone said earlier that prayer is what Jesus did. So Jesus modeled for us what prayer is. Jesus had a prayer life. Would you agree? What was his prayer life? We're just talking. Speak up, speak up. I want them to hear you at the back. He wanted to be alone with the Father, but oftentimes he would go in the morning. Spend time with the Father because it was his time with the Father that was going to prepare him to handle what he had to deal with in the day. Any instance in the New Testament you read that Jesus was up with the Father and came down, he was always confronted with an issue immediately when he came down. Because my time with the Master in private prepares me for what I have to deal with in public. I love this. Can I just say that? That sounds good. My time in private with Christ prepares you and I for what we have to face in public. You can't handle what you're going to have to encounter in public or in the natural until you've had time with the Father, that now you had time to get alone, you have time to actually free yourself or whatever is on you. Now he's giving you the strength to handle whatever it is you have to face, because watch this, you don't know what you got to face. You don't know what lies ahead of you during the day. But one thing I do know, I've had time with my Father, and he assured me that there is nothing that is going to happen to me today that I can't handle. Right? So Jesus got up early, spent time with, who did he carry with him? When Jesus went to pray, oftentimes he went alone. Even when the disciples was asked to go with him, those jokers fell asleep. You all know. Jesus said, you all couldn't watch for me 1 hour? He must have been up there a long time. Some of you all talk about how long service is here. So I know I better not come in here talking about we praying for an hour. You're going to be by yourself. Jesus, he said, hey, can you not watch and pray for me just 1 hour? Then they say, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Woo! What does that say? Got to be careful who you partner with in prayer, because they might not want it as bad as you want it. And I know we're good saints. We want everybody to just go with us. Just come along. No. My intimacy with the master is my intimacy with the master. And it's what I learned in private and get revelation in private with my private time and devotion with God that helps me now impart that knowledge to someone else. But everybody can't go up with me. There are moments where you have to get alone with God by yourself and pray. But some of us are very hypocritical. That's what he said in the Sermon on the Mount. Matthew chapter 5 through 7, he says what? Some of you, when you pray, you're so messed up. He said, some of us, let me say not you, some of us, he said, you love praying in the synagogue. You love praying where people can hear you congregate your verbs, and subject-verb agreement sound good, and you getting all deep with it because you're not really talking to me. Watch this. Listen to sometimes I get in trouble every time I open my mouth. Let's just listen to prayers sometimes. Listen how people pray. They start off talking to God, but then they end up talking to you. God, blah, 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 blah. Now, why don't you open your mouth and just, no, you just finished talking to God, now you're talking to us. You've heard people do that. Come on and look at me like that. I mean, they start out praying to God and it's going well. Then now they're trying to elicit some response out of you. So now they're talking to you. No, that's not prayer. Then we got to get all deep. Just make sure the words are right. Now, sometimes when you need what you need from God, you ain't got time to be your subject-verb agreement. I don't care about no subject-verb agreement. God don't care about that. Folk care about that. Let somebody get up in here on Sunday morning, this coming Sunday, and pray. One of the preachers get up here and pray, and they just cut up every verb, slaughter every conjunction, just mess them up. Some of you will be looking the whole time laughing. What'd you say? No? You don't think so? But what we forget, that they're having a conversation with God on your behalf. I don't care if you got a DD or no D. If you can get a prayer through, go ahead. Right? So we got an invitation to pray. An invitation to pray. What is an invitation? What is an invitation? You get an invitation, what is it? I'm sorry? Coming of your salvation. Okay. When you get an invitation, what is it? If someone sends you an invitation, what are they doing? They're inviting you in. Because everybody don't have the privilege to come, because I am not giving just any kind of invitation to anybody to come. When you send out wedding invitation, you just don't give hey, just come on to my wedding. Anybody, everybody, everybody. Come on. No, you got to pay for them too. No, so you send out invitation because there are some people that are close to you that you want to have special benefit when the ceremony is over, that they can come and be with you in private. Talk, boy. That's just like God. God said, everybody can't come to the private ceremony that you have because I summoned you because you're my child. Everybody are not my children. All right, let's go next slide. We got a ton of scripture, so I pray you brought something to write with.